Hi there, my name is David Batsoffen and I host a travel blog called Travel and Things. And at the moment, I'm doing a series called In Conversation With. And opening tomorrow, or reopening tomorrow, it's so exciting, is the Two Oceans Aquarium in Cape Town. And today I am chatting to Renee Leeuwner, who is the media and communications person for the aquarium. Renee, hi, how are you doing?
Hi, I'm doing much better than 5 months ago. It's been a long 5 months, and yeah, I can't wait for us to reopen.
Are you ready to don a wetsuit and leap into the tank?
I am this close to actually doing that. I can't wait to just get under the water. We actually, during lockdown, we were talking as a department, we should go snorkeling just to have that ocean feeling. So yeah, I don't dive as part of my job, but I get to dive if I want to. So that is actually a very good idea. I might just do that. Yes.
You're very lucky. I mean, I've dived at your ocean area, your aquarium, in both the. I made a mistake. I did the shark tank as a copper helmet dive when you guys still offered that, and then without any warning, I was tossed into the kelp tank, and I didn't realize that those fish know exactly where the food is in that bag in your groin. And red Roman in the genitals is not the way you want to start off a long weekend in Cape Town.
I also did that copperhead diving when we did the copperhead diving. I didn't last that long under the water because in the diving process, I'm fine, but that helmet was just too claustrophobic for me. I think I was down for about 12 or 15 minutes, and but it was an experience that very few people I can actually say that they've done that. Kelp Forest, of course, is the most amazing dive. We are currently not offering dives as just yet, but it will come. Yeah, it will come.
You've just talking about the kelp tank, though. You are busy, if not complete, replanting that, are you not?
So when we went into lockdown, to make things easier, so you have to remember we had a very small complement of staff that actually went in every day to look after the aquarium. And there was like 26 people divided into two groups. And to make things a little bit easier for them and to just take a little bit of a burden off that 13 people, which normally would be like a group of 30 working per day, we took all the kelp plants out because those do need to be tended to on a regular basis. And now we've put them all back again because we have full staff complement back at work. We can do what we need to do. The fish, I don't know what happened, but I've been there a couple of days, and those red stumpers, they are like orange. It's so beautiful. Maybe it's just me. Like I haven't seen it in so many years. It's just me. I want to, oh no, not so many years, so many months. That's how it feels. It feels like years.
It does indeed. I think we've all had that week, because I know I have, where you wake up and doesn't matter what day it is, you think it's like Saturday. My groundhog week was Saturdays. Every morning I woke up, I thought, it's not, it's Tuesday. Why do I think it's Saturday? Take me back to the beginning of lockdown. What happened when the president said, right, 21 days, did you guys all go, this is going to be easy, we can manage this? And here we are, almost 6 months later, still in lockdown, and you're about to you've actually reopened to your members already. And I hope that those days have gone really, really well and given you some idea of what's about to befall you guys tomorrow when you officially open for the public.
Yeah. So David, to go back to the start of lockdown, we actually, I want to say we were the first attraction to close in South Africa. And that was a week before the president even. We closed on the Wednesday, and the president announced no lockdown on the Sunday. The next Sunday.
Yeah.
So we'd closed already. What happened was our CEO was duty manager the weekend before, and he we all heard about the virus, and now it's in Cape Town and it's creeping in and creeping in. And he was on duty and we had a bumper weekend. And he stood there and he just realized this is not good. So he started immediately, even that weekend already, started talking to the waterfront, started talking to authorities, what are we doing? What are we doing? And the decision was made pretty quickly for us to temporarily close. We see about 450 to 500,000 people in a year. And any given day, we can have between 800 and 2,000 people on our floor. So it was too much to ignore, basically. And on top of that, we are very interactive. There's lots of interactive, it's a very terrible pun, but touch points. So,
not anymore, they aren't.
No. So the decision was made. It was a very surreal, as staff members, it was very surreal. So we closed to the public on the 18th. On the 19th, the majority of the staff were told, you are leaving today and you're not coming back until we tell you to. And don't think you're going to come back into the building. We have to look after the staff who need to look after the animals. They are our top priority. So various measures were put into place. We thought we're going to reopen in April. We did think that.
Didn't we all?
The whole country thought that. And when April rolled around and nothing happened, we were like, no. And then May came around and we thought, okay, they're still doing okay. We were very active on social media with lots of blogs. We kept on talking to people. People kept on talking to us. And I think by June, everyone knew that nobody is above this. And everyone knew that we were in the same boat. We had different storms to weather as we were going on, but we were all in the same boat. So it went from people being a little bit, some people being a little bit upset that we closed, other people being very supported. We've had support in these 5.5 months. Really.
Don't you find it interesting though, Renee, that people get upset because you're closed? You closed in order to make the public and yourselves safe. Yet they probably went, oh, we wanted to come this weekend and now we can't, and now we've got nothing to do. Stay at home, garden.
At the beginning, we had one or two. We didn't have that many. And then now here at the end, we started having people again. You need to stand up for yourself and things like that. The thing is it's not just about us. It's about everyone. And, in the waterfront, we're a community and we have to look after the community. And the waterfront is the biggest tourist attraction in South Africa. It cannot, just look over this as if it's nothing's happening. So we at the beginning we were a little bit, those of us like myself and my colleague who run or work with the social media, because a lot of this came out on social media. We kind of like, no man, please don't be like that. And then after a while it was just like, be like that, but on your own side. And we'll do what's good, what we know is good, what people are telling us is good.
Because that if you'd opened at the wrong time, there would be those who said, oh, you see, they're just in it for the money and they don't care about the public. You're damned if you do and damned if you don't. But let's go back to pre-lockdown, because you guys did a major renovation. What was it, 3 years ago now? 2-3 years ago?
Oh, it's 4 years ago.
Is it 4 years ago?
2016,
So that's the last time I set foot in your aquarium, was while they were doing that. I was down there to give a lecture, and part of the deal was we came to visit you guys. And I love your aquarium. I suppose I should nail my colors to the mast. In my matric year, I worked at the Oceanarium in Port Elizabeth. I did a year of cleaning the windows of the tank from the inside with scrubbing brushes, together with the dolphins, which was glorious. 1970, but things have changed now, and that doesn't happen anymore. But so talk to the viewers about the changes that you did 4 years ago, and what if any upgrades have you done to make sure that the opening tomorrow for the public is going to knock their socks off?
So the changes that we did, I need to go back like 20 years because we've always said we have this vision of making the aquarium bigger, and then one day we realized that actually it's no longer a vision. We have to do it. We are being forced to do it because of issues with tank linings and our two main exhibits at that stage, the predator and the kelp forests, having leaking tank linings. So we had to take those two tanks down, those exhibits down, in order to fix them. But for us to take those two down, we needed a third so that we can go from the one to the other, you know, like play a little bit of Tetris and dominoes and whatever. And we also wanted to give our visitors something to look at, something spectacular and big to look at. So that took about 20 years. And in 2016, it's a lot of money to find, you know. It's
but also
a lot of money.
It's not an easy job. It's not like moving animals from one pen to another on dry land. You've got hundreds of thousands of gallons of water, millions of gallons or of liters of water that you have to get rid of or keep or do something with. As you say, the third tank is necessary. Put fish. Those people who keep goldfish or tropical fish know when you've got to clean a tank, you've got to have another tank. Now, quantify that by the aquarium size.
If you think of it like that, that's quite a little bit of a job to be done. So
it is indeed.
It's just like we had to do something. So there was a little parking lot between us and the one and only hotel. So we went into negotiations and we got that whole section. We're going to develop that. So we developed the I&J Ocean exhibit, and it's got a 10-meter tunnel, beautiful solid window, one piece. You know, the predator exhibit has those metal joints. This one's got a solid piece window, and then that opened. We started building that in January of 2014, and it opened on the 16th of June in 2016.
Okay.
So you're working with 1.6 million liters of water and lots of big animals and animals that have to move and go. And so when that opened, the predator exhibit closed. Our sharks, we released all our sharks, and we started renovations on that. And then about close to the end of the renovations of the predator exhibit, I would say about 80% into the renovations of the predator exhibit, we actually closed the kelp forest as well. And then we started renovations on that because, you know, when you're working with a lot of water, sometimes I think it's actually not just water, it's building in general. You know, things don't go exactly like you plan. And we wanted to keep things going as fast as possible, as effective as possible, and get it out to the public. So then we opened predator exhibit with the sharks, and then on 2017, the end of 2017, can it be 2017? Maybe it was 2018. You know, so many dates. 2018, at the end of 2018, we reopened kelp. So now we have 3 main exhibits again. So we've got the predator exhibit with the 2 million liters of water and our sharks. We've got kelp forest with 800,000 liters, and then the one that's now between the aquarium and the one and only and adjacent to Avenue Conferencing Center, that's the I&J Ocean exhibit, and it has 1.6 million liters of water.
Now that one that backs onto the conference center, if people are sitting in the conference center, can they see into that aquarium, into that tank?
If you are sitting in the conference center and the doors are open, yes.
Then how do you keep the attention of the people in that conference? Because you know what it's like to sit in front of one of those tanks. In the old predator exhibit, I used to sit on the floor, and all of a sudden you find yourself dozing off. Just the movement of the raggies, the constant movement of those animals past the window puts you to sleep.
You close the doors.
That's too simple, Renee.
It's, well, you know what? So there's ways and means. You keep, well, you do keep the doors closed, and you use that area as a special area. So there's a corridor between the window and the conferencing center, and they come in around the back. And then, say for tea time, we open up those doors, and you have your beautiful tea. But we also have Tranquility, which is our boardroom, which has a window into kelp forest. Now that is, I can't help you with.
No, not unless you put brown paper, tape brown paper over the tank. What is your most popular exhibit?
Sharks. Shark exhibit, definitely, and closely followed by penguins.
But penguins, people don't realize, as I said earlier, I worked at the Oceanarium in Port Elizabeth, and we had one penguin that used to perform in the dolphin show. His name was Rocky, and he was a rockhopper penguin, and he had a very mean streak because he knew what time the show was, and he'd edge out on a ledge. And the only way to get him was to grab a wing. And when you grabbed his flipper, he bit you. And it was then a case of, let's see who hangs on the longest. I think I've still got scars on my hands from that bird.
So, I'm sorry about your experience there, David. Our Rockies, so firstly, you need to know that we've got two types of penguins.
Yep.
The ones are African penguins. Don't try what you did with the rockhopper with an African penguin. Don't. A rockhopper beak is like this.
Yep.
African penguin beak is like that.
Yeah, they hook in.
Don't try that. No, that is a scar from penguin bite. Yeah. Anyway, our rockhopper penguins are all rescues. They're not. We never set out to have rockhopper penguins, but these birds are washed up on our shores. What we suspect is that they are kept on board fishing vessels, and the reason why we suspect that Teddy, who's our oldest rockhopper penguin, he must be about 25 or 30 years old by now, because he came to us in December of 1999 as an adult. His feet were still bound together with wire. So what happens is the fishing vessels go, they catch these birds as part of bycatch, they keep them on board as pets, fresh food to sell on and things like that. And when they get to our coast, they realize they've got a endangered species on board, and they just toss them overboard. Yeah. The problem with that is now that those birds have been exposed to pathogens on our coastline, and probably from other penguins as well. And our birds, particularly our northern rockhopper penguins, they are critically endangered, and they basically breed on 2 islands. So if we send a bird back that has an underlying disease, we could. So they stay with us. We don't mind. We have we don't mind. They're the most incredible characters. I just want to tell you, characters. People are characters. I don't know what a penguin. We should come up with a word for penguins.
Yeah.
So there's during lockdown, especially at the beginning, we shared a lot of videos of these penguins walking between their day exhibit and the kelp forest, because they swim in the kelp forest. Their night exhibit and then the day exhibit, which is the kelp forest, because that's where they swim. They hop up onto the stairs. And at the beginning of lockdown, the penguins became the animal mascot of lockdown 2020. It was really amazing. I had so much media interest in these birds, and I'm like, people, they do this every day. This is normal for them. This is what they do. But they are seriously so full of character and so full of spunk. But I've been bitten by a couple of rockhoppers, not as badly as what you've described. Ours seem to be fairly mellow compared to with your
my experience.
Your experience.
Yeah, back in the 70s, those rockhoppers were tough things. And the other one that always got our visitors were the baby seals. Now, being in Port Elizabeth, we also got a fair amount. We didn't go out to catch baby seals. They ended up being washed up, and you had to take them in and feed them and make sure they were healthy before you re-released them. But those things used to cry because, again, they knew what time feeding time was. And then they would set up this bleating like you cannot believe. And then the visitors would come to us and go, "What are you doing to your seals? They're crying." We go, "We know." They're just hungry. They're just trying to set you guys off so that we will come with food to keep them quiet.
They sound like little sheep. They honestly,
they do.
They sound like sheep. So fortunately, we don't have that problem because we don't have seals anymore. We haven't had seals since about 2007, I think. But what we do have is we have a group of people that go out into the waterfront to help the seals that have the nooses around their neck.
Yeah.
So they go and cut those off. We've had a couple of people, honestly, tell us that we do it for entertainment. And then you have to, but this is now anyone in rescue rehabilitation, whether it's pets or wildlife or anything, will tell you that they've had those comments.
Yeah.
And you have to take it from where it's coming from. You have to take it as somebody who sees what's happening here, but doesn't see the bigger picture. And if it means for us to have to net a seal and sit on that seal, do you know how strong a seal is?
Yeah, it's virtually pure muscle. There's not much wastage on that thing.
A 60-kilogram seal, I've seen a 60-kilogram seal just lift a 120-kilogram man. He was sitting on top of her, and she just got up and said, "You're getting off my back. Thank you." So we have to restrain them, because sometimes also the things that cut into their necks are so deep. We have to dig. It's terrible. It sounds terrible, but we have to dig to get to the thing. And it doesn't always look that good. And a squirming animal and an animal that's clearly in a distress, but it's in distress for a couple of moments in order for them to be taken out of this situation,
Yeah.
So we hear it all, and we take it from where it comes from, and then our next step is to educate. 100%.
So that's a really nice segue into what I'm going to ask you next. I know that you had, I don't know whether you still have, those sort of touchy-feely exhibits, the ones where the kiddies can stick their hands in and get bitten by a crayfish or something like that. If they're not good.
We've never aimed at that.
Are they still available, or has all that changed as well?
So obviously, with the current situation, we had to relook some of our exhibits, and we do have a lot of interactive exhibits, and they will not be as interactive as before. So a couple of the things that have always been very, very popular is the crawl throughs. So we've got jelly babies, and the kids can crawl through that. You will still see the jelly babies, but you won't be able to get your kids to crawl through. Or the turtle shell, where the people take their photos in this huge turtle shell. Stuff like that. Nemos, we've had to close the dome.
I was just about to ask you about the Nemos.
Yeah. So it's not something that we want to do, it's something we have to do.
Okay.
It's not something that is so to make life easier for us. It's no difference to us whether you can crawl through an exhibit or not, except that the experience is different. It's something that we have to do in the current context.
Okay.
And we looked at all of those exhibits, and we wanted to make sure that when you visit the aquarium, you do it as safely as possible.
Now, with that in mind, I take it all the protocols will be observed as per the government gazette. Are you going to limit the number of visitors per day, or how are you going to control the numbers going in and out, Renee?
So, David, we actually have, according to our floor footprint, we can take about 800 people at a time.
Okay.
But what we have decided is we're going to take 400 people at a time to give people that extra. So the aquarium is a bit extra in everything that we do. We have extra signage. extra space, extra sanitizer, extra cleaning staff, extra staff. So we've made sure that when you visit the aquarium, you can walk out of the aquarium saying, okay, that was a safe visit.
Right. And are you going to limit the amount of time that the visitors are allowed to spend inside? Or are you going to say, no, you can only, we've got 400 people, you've got an hour and a half or whatever, and then we need to get you out and the next lot in?
So the thing is that we will count the people as they go in, and we will count the people as they go out.
Okay.
And that's how we will work it. We're not going to limit your time at the aquarium. There are people that have been chomping at the bit to get to the aquarium. And we want you to, you know, research has shown watching fish swim in an aquarium is calming. It stimulates brain activity. It's good for the soul. So we want you to have that connection, because when you have that connection, you go out and you look after it.
Mm.
And so we're not going to limit people's time in the aquarium, but when you get to the aquarium and they say to you, oh, we're on 400 now, give it about 5 minutes or 10 minutes, then we'll let you in. Just let some people out. Just realize that we are saying that not for ourselves, because the more people we can get in, it's better for us.
Yeah.
But it's not for us, it's for our visitors.
So people are going to have to learn the art of patience. And if you've ever been to Disney World or Disneyland, the art of queuing without whinging and moaning. Because if you've ever been to any of those places, you'll know that certain of those rides, you can stand for an hour in a queue because they're so popular. And they do, because they want to ride the ride. And if people want to visit the aquarium, and if they're, in inverted commas, inconvenienced for maybe 20 minutes, buy an ice cream, stand outside, visit the shop, do something in order to keep yourself and your family occupied before you go in. And before you know it, you'll be inside and enjoying it. With that in mind, Renee, what is the weirdest interaction you've ever had with visitors to the aquarium? Have you had people trying to jump into the tanks or maybe steal one of the Nemos?
Okay, stealing is an interesting thing. We often have our signage stolen in the aquarium. Weird, I know. Or photos. So we have these beautiful photos, like our turtle rehab photos. It's stolen. So that's interesting.
You should put a donation box under there going, if you want to steal this, just leave us a few bucks so we can make another copy.
Just know that photo cost us like 400 Rand to make. So we want 400 Rand for you. The weirdest interaction, to be honest with you, from my personal point of view, I think some of my weirdest interactions with visitors is overhearing conversations.
I was about to ask you, have you got those experts that stand in front of the predator tank and say of a raggy, this is a tiger shark and it eats people on a regular basis?
And it's a parent, I'm not going to genderize this, it's a parent being very specific and being very certain, and then I'm standing in the background and I'm thinking, can't show this person now. But and then like I would just walk past and speak to somebody else. Yeah, these are ragged like really. But we've had some really interesting comments. I had the white steenbras in the kelp forest being referred to as sharks. We have had the red stump nurse, the very old red stump nurse, which we call Mick Jagger because it's got such a funny bulbous head and big lips, referred to as one of our previous presidents. We've had very, very interesting, I think my most precious ones are where the kids are teaching the parents. Those are, when I overhear a conversation where a child is telling a parent, this is a so and so and so, and that child is right, I tend to linger because they are telling them, see that fish? That fish is a galjoen, it's our national fish. And then normally the parent goes, how do you know that? No, when we were here last, the teacher told us. So
Okay.
that's a bit of a return on investment for us.
It is indeed.
So,
But you've also then got the same problem that wildlife has when they see warthogs and meerkats. Oh, look, it's Pumbaa and Timon, or yellow-billed hornbills are always Zazu. And then along comes Finding Nemo, and your clownfish, unfortunately, get renamed Nemo instantaneously.
our exhibit is called Nemo.
I know it is.
Because the kids come through the kids that come to the aquarium often come through that turnstile and they make a beeline. Nemo.
Yeah.
They want to go see Nemo. And I think the movie is like 30 years old or something now, 25 years old or something.
At least.
And I'm like, oh my golly gosh, it just shows you what an impact a movie like that can have,
Yeah.
a long-term impact.
Yeah.
The one side is that is a very positive impact. It can also have a very negative impact, because when Finding Nemo was released, immediately people wanted clownfish for their exhibits or their tanks at home.
Yeah.
So when Finding Dory was released, we did a very strong campaign to say, listen, blue tangs are actually not bred in captivity. They've never been bred in captivity. Do not support this. Go see the movie, but enjoy it in the movie, you know. And fortunately, with the clownfish now, like ours, are bred in captivity.
Okay.
So what people don't realize is that when you go to a pet shop to buy a fish, I'm not talking about goldfish. I'm talking specifically about
Marine tropicals.
Marine tropical fish. That fish, I think it's 1 out of 10 make it from the ocean to the pet shop.
Yeah, you see, this is what people don't know, is how those fish are actually caught. Cyanide in the coral reefs, poisoning the fish, and then it barely makes it to your tank, because there's always a sign in the aquarium shop that says, once the animal has left our premises, we are no longer responsible for it. You barely put that thing in your tank, turn around, turn back, and it's floating upside down, and you think you've discovered a new species. Meanwhile, it's dead, and it just cost you a couple of $100.
No, it's because the stress that those animals go through. There are some people who are starting to breed locally. Sorry about the background noise.
No, it's fine.
I do have a zoo at home, and the zoo's just woken up again. But yeah, and then also what people don't realize is, you buy a fish that's this size, it's going to get to that size, and your tank doesn't support it. And then phone the aquarium, do you want to so and so? And like, actually, we can't. It doesn't fit in with the ecosystems that we have. It doesn't fit in with the other fish that we have. What am I going to do with a plecostomus? This is now a freshwater exhibit, you know.
Yeah.
We don't have plecostomuses that's this size. We can't take them. What do you do with a fish this size in a tank that it no longer can no longer support it? Animals grow. Puppies start out small, they get big Great Danes, then go for fish.
Yeah, years ago, I went to our local pet store to get something, and a guy had walked in with a pig in a box, and he was talking about it being a teacup pig, and I was desperate. And I dashed home and I said to my wife, there's a guy in a pet shop who's got a teacup pig. Let's do some research very quickly. And it turned out that teacup pigs don't exist. And those miniature pigs turn into big pigs that you have to eat one piece at a time because they're so huge. So 450 kilos, and it sleeps on your bed because it can, you know.
And if you get the wrong personality in a pig, have you been bitten by a pig?
No, I haven't. I
have. I have. They have big teeth. And if you get with the wrong personality, then you end up with what you say, a couple of 100 kilos of animal. You know, they can be very, very sweet as well. But now people in small homes get an animal like that, and they end up with an animal that's bigger than your largest dog breed. So,
luckily, if people, when they visit the Two Oceans Aquarium tomorrow, they're not going to find pigs in the tank. Big sharks, yes, perhaps. In your tanks, in your predator tanks, what sharks have you got? There are no great whites in there, are there?
No, we have ragged-tooth sharks, and you won't actually find a great white in any exhibit across the world. They don't like. They live basically just off the drop off in the ocean. So they like that depth. They like to go fast. They are very, I don't like the word, but highly strung. So they need to be, I almost want to say, in control. Monterey Bay has had raggies, great whites, 1 or 2. But they only have them like for 30 or 40 days at a time and then have to release them. That's the first thing. The second thing is whatever you put in a tank with a great white will get eaten. So you'll have huge exhibit with one shark, and that's it.
Renee, I know that in zoos, they bring in, they don't just throw food to the animals. They make them work for it, so that they are kept. They are kept. What's the word I'm looking? Enrichment. Thank you. Thank you very much. So, what do you offer? Is there an enrichment for marine animals?
Yeah, 100%. So let's just look at the penguins. So they have enrichment all the time because we do such, their routine gets shuffled up a little bit. Maybe they go and swim in the kelp forest. Maybe they swim down in the old seal pool. The African penguins, we build ramps and things, and you go in with different things. The thing with the African penguins is that they get quite scared of new things. So you have to, even if you introduce enrichment. So African penguins are used to having people as the enemy. Rockupper penguins, they don't see people. So when they see a person and the person's nice to them, they're going to assume that all people are nice to them. Okay. African penguins, they have this built-in thing that people aren't nice. So that you have to be very slow with them. Then another animal, which is our alien, like UFO alien, is the octopus. Highly, highly intelligent, such an incredible puzzle solver, such an incredible, just go, if you haven't really looked into octopuses and their brain capacity and the way they function and the way they think and the way they have community. We never thought they have community, but they have community. Go and research that. So we give our octopus gets, those hamster balls that you shouldn't use for your hamster, just saying. We put its food in the hamster ball. So it has to work at getting the food out. Or just balls, floating ones that sink, all different things, little buckets and close things up, things like that. Then for the like the big sharks, sometimes we put things in the exhibit to change swimming patterns and to, things like that. We might change the sharks also have and the fish in those exhibits have different types of enrichment where their routine isn't always the same. We always feed at the same times, but there might be people in the exhibit at different times. So there's a little bit of interaction like that. Then for like the turtles that we rehab, we create fake feeding stations and we leave it around, and they have to go and forage for their food. So we don't put the animals in the exhibit and throw the food in and walk away. Every single exhibit in the aquarium has somebody looking after it. It's their heart and passion to look after that exhibit and those animals in there, and they do whatever they can to do what's best for those animals.
Now, when people come tomorrow, firstly, what are your opening and closing times?
So during the week, we open 9:30 till 6, and over weekends, we open 9 till 6.
Wow, till 6 o'clock. That's so good. But then again, in Cape Town, it's light until about 11:30 at night, you lucky people.
Not right now. It's winter still.
Yeah, and you've got rain and cold. Thank you very please.
Yes, thank goodness our dams are nice and full, and we're really thankful for that.
That is the upside. Renee, before I say goodbye to you, and thank you so much for being in conversation with me today, And I'm just sorry I can't be there for the opening. I hope to be in Cape Town later this month, though, and I will definitely make a turn past there.
Yes.
How do people find out what's available? I take it that your website has costings on it, so if people want to budget to bring family and friends, they're not going to be surprised at the gates.
No. So firstly, with the whole COVID story, we are actually encouraging people to buy their tickets online.
Okay.
You'll arrive with your ticket on your phone, and we'll just scan your phone and you can go in. So contactless. So go to our website, www.aquarium.co.za. It has all our prices, what we do during the day, how we're going to manage the COVID situation. And if you don't get your answers there, you can reach us on our telephones are working again because they've been very quiet. So yeah, the numbers are on the website or on social media. You can find us on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. Yes.
So basically,
we're very active.
The visiting public have no excuse. They can't arrive there and say we can't find anything about you.
Yeah, no, we're everywhere, and YouTube, Pinterest, everywhere.
Everywhere. And I should imagine that tomorrow when the gates open, people who have watched this video will look at the entrance and go, oh, so that's what Renee looks like in real life. Because I should imagine you're going to be there waving at the crowds, happy to see people in once more, Renee.
You know what? I've been with the aquarium since before it opened. I started as a volunteer in 1995.
Right.
And we've only been closed one day in 25 years. And that was the first year. And now we've just been closed 5.5 months. It was the weirdest feeling for me. And going back, I didn't realize how much I miss the visitors. I've been back to the aquarium once or twice with no visitors, and it's not the same.
Yeah, it must be almost like a mortuary because your corridors are a little dark. They're dimly lit. You may now discover that there've been ghosts that have been wandering around the aquarium, but that's for a whole new exhibit.
We won't discover that. We've always known that.
Okay, fair enough. I've been in conversation with Renee Leeuwner, who is Media and Communications Executive at Two Oceans Aquarium. Renee, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me. It's been wonderful. And yeah, when you're in Cape Town, please come and visit.